Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. And today I'm going to be showing you another tutorial video, and this is specifically on a mini game or game mode or some type of factions world that you want to build in Minecraft Xbox One without actually having to bring out a computer and mod or download a world. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and go on to the new world, and you want to create a new world. Go ahead and name it something like factions. You can customize this name however you want, make it pop out from the other worlds that you're going to be building, because most likely if you're making one factions world, then you're going to continue to make a bunch of other worlds. Go ahead and put it in game mode creative mode. Difficulty, I like to do normal or hard. You can customize the settings a little bit more based off of like if you want mobs or if you want players to be able to PvP, which most likely on a factions world you're going to want players to be able to PvP. But you're also going to want to put on host privileges so that you can change this game mode back to survival once you get into the actual world. Texture packs, you can choose any texture pack that you want. I'm just going to use the generic Minecraft texture pack for right now. You can switch it to an online game. Mine's going to stay offline for right now. More options. You want to go over here to world options. You want to, well, you can make it an amplified world if you want to. That'll add like a twist on it, but it'll make it a little bit harder to find a flat area to build spawn at. So you most likely have to do some sort of water spawn or floating spawn, or basically bridge between two mountains and make like I don't know, those kind of spawns. So it's going to be a little bit trickier to make a spawn if you do an amplified world, but that is still an option. Seed for the world generator, if you find a really good seed that you want to use, go ahead and type that in here. Because if you have a really good flat seed that you want to use, that would be great. I don't have a seed though, so we're just going to do it without a seed. World size, I like to do small worlds, but if you're doing a bigger server for longer durations of time, you might want to do medium or large. That way when it starts to get crowded near the spawn area or something, you can move the spawn area, or so that players have a further distance that they're able to go. But I like to do small and have the spawns somewhere in the middle of the map, or in one of the corners of the map. And the reason why I like the small world is just because it's a little bit more together, so you can actually, so there's actually action on the faction world, because on Xbox there's not a lot of players that can join one world at a time. Biome scale, you can set this to however much you want, but I like small so that there's multiple biomes in a single world. Bonus chests, there's no need for that. Generate structures, I like to generate structures so that there's villages and sea temples and stuff like that. Do not make this a super flat world. You can if you just want to practice building the spawn and the other things I'm going to go over in this episode. But I'm going to make mine just normal so that we can find a good location. I can tell you what to look out for, and then we'll start building the spawn hopefully in this episode. Disable autosave. I recommend doing this. You can do this at a later time in the world settings. But I recommend disabling autosave so that when players actually join, it's not automatically saving anything that they do, like griefing the spawn or anything else like that. Trust players, I also like to turn that off so people can't just join in and start breaking your spawn and breaking blocks randomly. Fire spreads and TNT explodes, I'm going to go ahead and turn those off right now just in case an accident does happen while you're building the spawn. It's always good to have a fail-safe by turning those off. Now into the game options. You do want to make this an online game. I'm not going to have it online right now because I don't want people to join. Player versus player, you probably want player versus player because it's going to be a faction world, or if it's a different type of mini game world that you don't want players fighting each other, then you can turn this off. But you also, because trust players is off, you don't exactly need to have this off. You can make sure that when you're giving the people privileges as they join, just to not let them be able to attack each other unless it's during a certain event. Host privileges, this for sure you want to turn on, otherwise it'll make it a lot more difficult to actually change the settings to the world. Daylight cycle, I'm going to turn that off so that it's not constantly turning to night while we're trying to build the spawn. Weather cycle, I'm going to turn that off as well so it's clear all the time for right now. All these settings though you can change to your customization when you actually have players join, but for right now we're not having players joining. I'm going to turn off mob spawning so that when it's dark out or in dark areas that we're going to be looking at or building, that zombies and other bad mobs will not spawn. Mob griefing, you can always turn that off. It doesn't really matter that much though. Mob loot doesn't really matter that much. Keep inventory, I do recommend for right now. Just make sure that you turn it off when the actual game starts, or you can keep it on if you want. There's a bunch of different ways of actually playing factions. You can make this faction world to your rules. Let's go ahead and create the world and let's start it up. And then hopefully it places us in a plains biome. If not, hopefully the plains biome on the world is relatively to the middle of the map. Just because you don't want to have your spawn in one particular area where it's kind of hard to get away from spawn. Other than that, just make sure that you have a flat area. If not, you can build your own flat area. Like for example, you could build, I actually need to turn on my user interface. There we go. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you find a flat area. If not, you can always build a flat area in the sky. Sky spawns have always been pretty effective, and you can build those over a water source like this, or make your own water source, like a water fountain or something. You have woodland mansions here, and oh wow, that's actually interesting. There's a village going right into this woodland mansion. That's a little odd. And I've seen some people who place their spawns on top of woodland mansions. I don't personally like to do that. What I like to do is I like to find a flat area somewhat far away from a woodland mansion. You can actually pull out your map and go towards the middle of the map and find a flatter area in that direction. Like for example, you have a relatively flat area there that has access to the swamps, to the forest, dark forest, woodland mansion, and you've got desert over yonder. But it looks like the middle of the map is relatively in the ocean, which isn't the best thing, the best type of map that you can have, but it's still an okay map because if you want to build a sky spawn, then you can do it along one of the coasts so that people can just drop down with water and head over to the coast. But I think what we're going to do is I'm going to make the spawn. This looks like a pretty good location right here because it has access to a bunch of different things around. So we're going to go ahead and build our spawn right here, and just to mark it off real quick, I'm just going to place down a beacon so we do not lose this location again. So there you go. Now you have your spawn location. Now to actually building the spawn, which I'm going to go into a flat world real quick. Alright, so now that you're on your flat world and you've already found your location that you're going to work at, what you need to do is practice building an actual spawn. So first thing you want to do is figure out what size spawn you're going for. If you're going for something smaller, I recommend a 20 by 20, but I wouldn't go much smaller than that. Or if you're going for something more medium size, you can do a 30 by 30 or even 40 by 40, but I didn't feel like drawing that out with carpet. So now that you have your size, which I decided a 20 by 20, as you can see back there, now it's time to choose your theme. There's a bunch of different themes that you can do. You could do something like rocky themed, or like a deep sea themed, or you could do something more like wood or classical with like glowstone, or you can do something like a little bit more modern with quartz and concrete and beacons and torches, or something more nethery with lava, netherrack, nether brick, soul sand, magma blocks, glowstone, or something like a little bit more elemental with like the different types of ores, I guess, but not ores, like diamonds and emeralds. You get what I'm trying to say. So you want to choose one of many themes. There's also a numerous amount of other themes, but my favorite theme personally is to do either an elemental, a concrete or more modern-esque, or a very classical, which for this one, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go classical. So go ahead and grab your blocks, and then you wanna come over here, and I chose a 20 by 20 size, by the way. If I hadn't already said that, I think I might have already said that though. And then you wanna find the middle of your map, so you can go in and mark it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This is 18 across, not counting the corners, because if you did count corners, it would be 20 across, which is a perfect 20 by 20 square. But because this is 18 across, you want to go 9 in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the first block. And so you can just place something there to mark that. And, then you want to break 8 more on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this is the 9th block. So this is your center right here. This is the center of your spawn right here. And what I like to do is sometimes I like to build like a little dome or a little building right here with just open walls and stuff like that, where you can put like your ender chests and just a nice little spawning area. And then on the outskirts of the area, you can build your information boards about the spawn, or even a trading system, which I'll show you hopefully in the next episode. And yeah, now you can actually get to building your spawn. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on building your spawn, but I'm going to explain the best way that you can build your spawn. So I like to do something a little bit more cobblestone themed, so I'm just going to go ahead and mark that. And from this, I'm going to go, let's go 3 out this way in each corner, each direction. Right here, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And then I like to build up from this. So let's just build up like 3. Let's go 4 blocks. Actually, let's go 3 blocks. 4 is a little tall because I'm going to try and dome the ceiling, so it'll go a little up in the center like that. So what you can do from right here is you can go ahead and finish marking in the outside, which I think this is the kind of design that I'm going to go with. Is a little bit more rounded. There you go. And then you can fill in the floor how you'd like. I'm just going to fill it in with some birch wood. There you go. Now you have a good floor plan, and now you want to go ahead and move on to the ceiling, which I will show you how to right now. So what you want to do is you kind of want to go off of this theme right here. I'm thinking some glowstone, maybe a chandelier hanging down from the ceiling, or some sort of a lighting system hanging down from the ceiling. For that, you want some fences. I'm thinking some dark oak fences would look really nice with a dark oak and oak themed ceiling. So you want to get oak, and you want to make sure you have dark wood, and then you want to get some stairs, of course. There you go. Then you want to make sure that you're getting slabs, so get some of that. There you go. So now that you have the stairs and slabs and blocks, what you want to do is you want to figure out what kind of design you're going for. Because I'm going for a more rounded design, I'm going to go ahead and go in like this. And just basically going over the cobblestone layout that I placed. With oak slabs up here. Then I'm kind of going to go in and up at the same time. So I'm thinking I want the corners to be dark oak slabs, and then the inside to be like little, basically like rectangles going up into the center of oak wood, and the dark slabs being like cutting into the ceiling like that. So next block, this actually works out really well, where you can just place a block and it goes up a layer for you. There you go. And you can replace these with slabs to give you more room in the actual on the actual inside later. So there you go, you can do that, and then you can place something like this, like that. That way you can build off of this, something like this. And your main goal in actually building the spawn, your main goal is to aim for something that sticks out. And what I mean by that is, don't just build your generic blocky spawn, but you want to be a little artistic with it. Even if it doesn't work the first time around, I've built multiple servers to where it's pretty natural for me at this point in time for me to build these type of spawns where they just kind of pop out, unlike some other spawns where I've seen that they're just a little blocky and a little bland. Our goal is to just build something a little artistic. So I'm just going to go down on these edges a little bit more, maybe go in like that, just to add a little bit more depth, I guess you could say. And all this is going to do is it's going to make it so that people who join the server actually feel like they are a part of something big because you spent time on your server. And that's something that's very, very important, because that's not only a way how you'll get repetitive players who come and join your server, but it's also a way of getting people to enjoy their time on your server. And I guess because they enjoy it and see how much time you've put into it, it makes them not want to, like, I guess, grief, you could say. Because if I saw that somebody put this much time into a server, then I definitely would not want to grief it. Well, not saying I do grief, but if, like, you get what I'm trying to say. If you put time into your server, there's a less chance of your server getting griefed, because people will see that you put your time and effort into your actual server. So I'm just adding these little chandelier kind of thing right here, just to add a little bit more light and something that pops down from the ceiling. Add some trapdoors, make it look a little bit more rustic and classical. And then this is when you can put in your ender chests in the corner, like so. I did like a little spiral pattern where they pointed at each other's corners. And then this is where you can add some stone slabs or cobblestone slabs around the rim, like so. I'll go ahead and do some of these. So there you go. This is in case, like, if you only wanted one entrance in and out of your spawn, because this spawn that I chose to build is only a 20 by 20, so it's going to be a lot smaller, but that's the one that I have time for right now, because I'm kind of on limited time right now. So now that you have your little area, you can actually go ahead and just place some of those down like that if you want this to be your entryway in and out of the actual spawn area. And if I do say so myself, I think that's a really nice area. So now you can come inside here, and you can go ahead and set the world spawn point to the inside of your spawn, so that when people join, they are greeted to a nice little hut. So the next step that you want to do is you want to work on the pathways outside of the spawn. So what you want to do is you want to get something like gravel or sand, or you want to use your shovel on the dirt and make it look just not like a normal, I'm not saying do something where it's like you take the gravel and you're just doing this, no, but kind of mix it up and figure out your own way of doing it so that it pops out. So you can use a little bit of cobblestone, a little bit of gravel, for example, like this, and then you could figure out how to like round it around these edges. something like that. See, that looks like a little bit more of a specific way of actually, like a little bit better than if you were to just do normal gravel. Again, just adding that little bit of depth and art to it can make it so that somebody completely changes their mind if they ever wanted to grief or just enjoy their experience on your server more. And that's probably like the number one thing that you want to do on your faction server, is make sure that everybody on the server is having a fun and enjoyable experience. So I guess building the spawn can't go the whole way of making sure that people have a good experience. People might say, oh, this is a really good and well-built server, but I don't like the way that the staff are treating me, or something like that. So you want to make sure that you're not only having a artistic ability on the actual spawn, but you want to make sure that when people are joining the server, that they are greeted to a nice staff team, in case you wanted your friends or such to join the world and help you out as staff members. So you want to make sure that you have a good staff team that's going to be there when they need to be there, and are going to help out people the best that they can. So you can build like a little gateway like that, not exactly all cobblestone. You can mix it up, maybe put in some mossy cobblestone in some of those spots, put on some cobblestone fences, kind of like over here with mossy cobblestone. I actually forgot to put the cobblestone fences there. But you want to keep on building this around your area here. And once you get to a certain, like once you actually finish the pathways, that's when you can start figuring out the rules that you want for your server, the guidelines, how you want people to treat each other on the server, and just making sure that your rules are fair enough that people will follow them, because sometimes people often go a little overboard with the server rules, and will make the rules a little bit unfair for the actual player. And so people don't come back to that server, and that server basically dies because nobody joins the server or wants to play on the server. And that's the last thing that you want, is for your server to die, because nobody wants that. So once you have a little pathway around here, you can go ahead and finish building something like this. Just a little guideline right here. There we go. And so now that you have something a little bit like that, that looks pretty artistic and is really nice, what you can do is you could build like a little water fountain, for example. Like if you wanted to build a little water fountain, you could just build it like this. Because in my opinion, the dirt texture is not very pleasing to the eye unless it's grass. So I'd do something like that, and then you have a little fountain. You can build another little fountain over here if you're looking for just adding something that looks a little pleasing to the eye. And again, just fill in the gaps with stone slabs or something else that looks a little bit nicer to you. For example, you could take that block right there out and fill it with glowstone, so that you're not only having something that looks pleasing to the eye, but you can light up your area out here as well. So there you go. You can do the same thing over here if you want. And then the rest of the area, you could take something like bone meal, place it down, just like that. Get yourself some flowers, there's not a lot of flowers in this one. So sometimes you can liven it up by adding some flowers yourself if the bone meal doesn't turn out well. My favorite is the blue orchid, so I'm just going to add a couple blue orchids in there just because I like those. And I'm going to get rid of some of these over here, replace them with blue orchids to match the other side. Maybe add a poppy or two on the other side just to make it so that one side doesn't stand out from the other. And there you go. You have a really nice spawn area. It's a very, very small spawn area. But when people join the server, they're greeted to a very beautiful and wondrous image. So this is the spawn area. You can make a little zone outside. I recommend about 10 blocks out. So for example, you could go somewhere around there, cover this in a red carpet, or just dig one down and build red concrete around this. And basically on one of the boards near the front entrance, like right here, you could say no attacking or anything like that inside of the zone. And that will make it so that people will have to go outside of the zone, and then they can play and attack each other and stuff like that, just so that people who are joining the server right away aren't being bombarded right outside of spawn and killed. Which, that's not fun. When you kill somebody just because they're new to the game, that's not fun in my opinion. So just add that little zone out there, and it makes it really, really nice so that people can actually get away from the spawn before they get attacked by people who have been playing for a longer duration of time. And now at this point in time, this is about the time that you would want to add on your rules. And rules can be simple. You can build like little boards like these, where it's just a very simple board right there. And all this is talking about, you just cover this in signs. You can use item frames or paintings like that to like put like a sword on this, and then this is the PvP rules and stuff like that. Oh. Maybe replace that with some cobblestone. There we go. So you could put a don't make it like a diamond sword or anything like that, so it's like so it's bad if they actually break the item frames, because I've had that problem where people will just break the item frames just because they can. So you can just place that right there for PvP, or you use a sign or some other source way of telling them basically those type of rules when you place down your stuff. And you can just build those wherever. You can build one there, 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 one right there. And just change the item frames out for different things. For example, the rules on PvP, the rules on building a base, and there's probably going to be a lot of base rules. Like, in my opinion, on a server, I don't think you should be allowed to make a base out of obsidian if the only way of raiding that base is with TNT. You know what I mean? There's some servers out there where, because it's Minecraft Xbox One Edition, it's not PC, and so obsidian isn't able to be broken by TNT. There's some servers where you can build with obsidian, but the way of raiding is with, well, by any means, you can just mine straight into the base if you know where it's at. And but there's also raiding rules that you can do, so you could do something like a redstone or a TNT for the raiding rules, and say that you can only raid with like 2 or more people, so that it actually has to be a planned thing. You can't just find a base, blow into it, and steal all the stuff without an actual faction. And then you could have a faction board with like banners and stuff like that, where you could have where you could list all the different types of factions that are in the world, the players, the leaders, and like what size they are. And like in some of my more successful faction servers, on the faction boards I'll have bigger and smaller factions, and then I'll have a system so that the bigger factions can fight the bigger factions and the smaller factions can fight the smaller factions, but they can't fight each other unless a smaller faction wants to try and fight a bigger faction. Which in that case, that's just a bad choice by the smaller faction, because usually that's not going to go too well. So that's all I really have to say about that. In the next episode, I will be showing you a type of vending machine, and I will be showing you like the different zones to put outside of it and how to make kits and something along those lines, about as long as this episode, hopefully. And I hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know down in the comment section below. If you have any recommendations on better recording software or anything like that, let me know. Other than that, I'll see you all later, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.